Okay, welcome back to this 10th video in this series where I'm creating a third-person multiplayer game with Unreal Engine and C++. At the end of the last video, I ran into a couple of replication problems with my aiming. And let's see if they're still there. So if I pull my weapon and then aim on the client, you don't see anything happen on the server, and that's a problem because the server, I moved all the firing logic to the server in the last video. So now, even though I'm aiming on the client, you can see I'm aiming at the mannequin there. But if you look on the server, you see the bullets are hitting down in front of his feet. That's because the server does not have any idea of where I am aiming. So there's a couple things I need to fix. One is when I begin aiming, I need to notify the server that I'm aiming. And so I'm going to make a server method and reliable. I'm going to call this void server set aiming, and I'm going to pass in a boolean to that. Then I'm going to make another server method and call this server set aim rotation. I'm going to pass in an F rotator to that. I'm going to generate definitions for these. And what I want to do is, this is very simple. I'm already replicating the variable, the isAiming variable and the aim rotation variable. I just set this up in the last video, but they're both already being replicated. So all I need to do is, on the server, I need to set and I can make that a const. Same for this, actually. I'll give it, let's see. I'm going to set the aim rotation equal to the rotator that I pass in. And now I can make that a const as well. Okay, so now I have server methods to set the aiming flag and the aim rotation. So what I want to do is on aim started, I'm setting this locally. I also need to set it on the server. Right, and in aim completed, I need to set it to false. And then I had the code in the tick to set the aim rotation. I want to move this to my look method. So on look triggered, if I'm aiming, so here I'm setting it locally. I need to also set it on the server. And why does it not like that? Server set aim rotation. Server set aim rotation. Server set aim rotation. Oh, huh. There we go. Let me compile that. And run it. Okay, it should launch here in just a second. Okay. Now let's see what happens. There we go. There we go. So now the server can see where I'm aiming. And now, if I fire, you can see my health going down on the server. And if I switch to the server, you can also see where I'm aiming, and you can see where I'm pointing there. So that's not working perfectly. Do, however, have another couple of issues. One that you can see right now, which is the aiming reticle is showing on the, like it's showing the reticle on the wrong. Actually, yeah. See, you can see my aiming reticle on the client, and you really should. I should be the only one seeing that. So that's a problem. The other problem is, I think in the last video, in my HUD, if we take a look in the tick method, it's going and getting this character and casting it on every tick, which is, I'm guessing, is probably pretty expensive, a pretty expensive thing to do. And so I wanted to see if what I could do is on the player controller, I was going to override the on possess. And so this is going to fire anytime this controller possesses a pawn, which is going to happen as soon as the game starts, because each machine has a player controller that spawns a character and possesses it. But it's also going to happen anytime if I later have vehicles or something like that I possess. It'll also fire then. I think what I want to do here is, can I get the HUD? Yes, I can. And I can cast it. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I want to create on the HUD, I want to create a method called, and this one will be a public method. So I already have this variable here, so I think if I just create a inline method, set character, there we go. So now I have a public method to set the character. Let me make that a const. I always forget to put the const keyword in. Okay, so now I have a method that sets that. So on the player controller, when I possess a pawn, I want to Okay, I'm gonna get the HUD, and I am going to set the character. Which doesn't see yet, apparently. Huh. Well, it knows it's there. And then I'm going to cast. Oh, it says it's inaccessible. Oh, I probably need to give it a different name. Because I think there's already a set character. Yeah. I'll call it a set player character. I'll call that player character, and then so then in my player controller, inaccessible. Why? Oh, whoops. Okay. So I'm setting the player character on the HUD. So now on the HUD, instead of doing all this business, if the player character is valid, we'll use that. Okay, there we go. Now let me build and launch that. Okay, so that should launch here in just a second. And I basically just need to make sure the HUD still works. Uh-oh. It definitely does not. Okay, I think this is probably happening on the server. So the HUD is null. So that's maybe I only want to do this. Maybe I can still. Let me see if this works. If it doesn't, I'll have to just revert it back and keep that casting code in. Okay, give it a second to launch and see what. Okay. Seems like it might work now. Let's make sure my health is going down on the other screen. And it is. Okay. And let me try that from the... Okay. So everything's working now. And we got rid of that inefficient ticking code. So Okay, so that's all done. And know that I intend to basically completely replace the animation at some point. It's a little quirky, especially when I move when I'm aiming. But I don't want to. I didn't want to replace it until I had more of an idea of what direction I'm sort of heading here, because depending on what I decide to build, I might use metahumans, or I might use like some military characters. I might use something else. So I didn't want to. I want to go nuts reworking the animation until I've sort of decided that. So for now, that quirky animation is going to stay there. What I want to do is I actually want to create I want to create like a menu, like a pop-up dialogue that comes up when you die, and prompts you to either respawn or exit the game. And so what I'm going to do is I've actually got Unreal launching here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create another widget, just like I did here for the HUD. I'm going to create another class that inherits from user widget. I'm going to call it something like, you know, Aspen respawn widget, something like that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bind widget, only this one's going to be a little bit more complex, because there's going to be some text and some controls, and I'm going to have to attach some callbacks into the buttons to have them fire. So before I do that, though, I don't know exactly what I want it to look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another widget blueprint in here. I'm going to go ahead and create the UI first this time. So for now, I'm just going to inherit from user widget, and I can reparent later once I have my base class created. So I'm going to call this Aspen underscore respawn widget. And I'm going to come in here and we're going to make a canvas panel, and what do I want? I think I'm definitely going to have a text, but I really want this to look sort of like I want it to look like a window. Okay. I've never used this title bar area thing before. So let's anchor it to the middle. And I think I want to put, let's see. Let's put an image inside of it, and let's tint it black. And not quite sure what I want that to look like. And then let's put some text inside of it. Can I not do text on top of image? Alright, I'll have to do something else then. Put a Then now that I've got that border, can I put a text on top of that? Yes. And I'm just gonna say respawn. And then I'm gonna put this panel over. I'm gonna do a border on this. Let's see, my canvas panel, I need to anchor that in the middle, and my border, I need to anchor, actually that's fine. I need to change it. I'm just going to make it sort of a gray, dark gray. And let's put a couple buttons on here. Yikes, that is definitely not what I want. So maybe this border, maybe that can't be a border. What do I want here? Let's see. Yeah, I don't want that to take up the entire well, okay, for now, let me just do this. Smaller. Okay, so now I have two buttons. So I need to give these things decent names. The buttons, anyway. So this one, I think we'll just rename this one to exit button. This one to respawn button. And I'm going to make both of these text blocks black. So this is a really terrible UI job, but I'll have to think about what I really want this to look like and come back to it. So for now, this is going to be, actually I want these swapped. So this is going to be exit. And respawn. And we need another text in here. Boom. You are dead. Respawn. Exit. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is in my HUD, oh, actually, before I can do this, I'm going to do a new Unreal class, and we're going to inherit from user widget. User widget. And we're going to call it Aspen Respawn Widget. Okay, and okay, so basically I just need to wire up these two buttons. So okay, I'm going to make both of these are going to be uProperties. Okay, so what am I doing? This is the wrong place. What am I doing? Okay, now in the proper place this time. What do those look like? There we go. Easy enough. Okay, so both of those are going to be connected now. If I'm going to recompile, and then once it's recompiled, I'm going to have to go in and reparent that that widget blueprint. So we'll give that just a minute to compile. Okay, so now that's compiled, let me come into my respawn widget and reparent to Aspen Respawn Widget, which is the class I just created. Save that, compile it, and it compiles. So those two things are properly wired up. So now what I need to do is I need to wire up these buttons. So I'm gonna override Is it native construct or native on initialized? Or native something else completely? I want to say native construct is my... No, that doesn't look right. Let me check. No, come on now. Okay. I think it is the construct. Okay. Let me generate a definition on that. And I'm going to need a couple of methods. Okay, and then I keep going to the wrong class. So let me close that, close that, close that. There we go. And I'm sure those can both be consts. Actually, let's not worry about that. So I'm not going to put anything in these yet. Whoops. I actually need to look up this method real quick. This exit button. On clicked.add dynamic, and we are going to add U functions. They both need to be U functions. Okay, so that wires up the exit button. That wires up my respawn button. So now whenever you click on those, these methods are going to fire. And I'm not ready to put anything into those yet. So let me come into the HUD, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. And we're going to create both of those. I'm going to build. The live coding may not be good enough for everything I just did, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, now that that's built, I should be able to open my player HUD blueprint and my respawn widget class is going to be my blueprint, my widget blueprint. Compile that. So that's set up. I might as well go ahead and, you know what, I'll wire up the exit button. So exit, quit, there it is, quit. Need the player controller for this. Is it always going to be the first player? Well, I'll give that a shot for now. There we go. Okay, so theoretically that's wired up. I'm not quite sure if this is correct in the multiplayer world or not, but we'll find out when we get there. So, so what I need to do is, you know what, let's look at my character class. So I have a method in here that executes when I die. I think for now I'll just wire up straight to that. So no, I need to think about this for a minute. This is on the client, so maybe it's okay. to add a public method in here. Show respawn window. Oops. And in here, effectively, I need this code, except I need it okay. So now I have show respawn window. So if I go back here, so I'm going to get the HUD and show the respawn window. Now, I actually want to do this in a timer because I don't want it to happen instantly, but for now, this should be good enough to see if it works. Okay, so that is built. Let's see what happens. I'd be shocked if this works on the first try, but my HUD seems like it's broken again on the client. It's not. Boom. It actually worked. And if I click exit, boom. All right. So basically I need to figure out what I want respawn to look like. So I'm going to take a little break for a few minutes, get something to drink, and think about this for a few minutes. Okay, so I took a little break, took a look at the docs for this, and I think what I might be able to do is in my respawn widget, I think I might be able so return null on the client. So that won't work. So there is a method on the game mode. But if that returns null on the client, that's not going to work. So I need another way to do this. So I think I'm going to have to create a delegate, unfortunately. So Let me think for a second, because I might need to pass the player controller. So let me see here. Take a quick look at the docs. No, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work at all. I need to think about this some more, apparently. I think if I create the delegate and then register a callback for it on this class. No. Alright, I need to think about this for a little bit. Okay, I thought about it for just a minute. I think what I'm going to do is my game mode. Let me think. So my player controller is replicated. So if I can make a method on the player controller that executes on the server, and then in my widget, so I don't want to call that server method directly, I don't think. I think what I want to do is create a public respawn function. this will call the server respawn function. And then the server respawn that's the way I want to handle that. Okay. Oh, I can't make these consts because they're used as callbacks. Okay, now let me compile that. Okay, so what are the odds of this working? Yeah, that didn't work at all. Let me try it in the other direction and see what happens. Uh-oh, I just froze up and crash. I think actually that probably will fix that up. I'm gonna run it from the debugger this time. Okay, so that's launched in the debugger now, and I've got a breakpoint set on my respawn button click event. So now if I launch ooh. Yeah, I'm still getting a null pointer. So I just threw a little if statement in here where I make a call to the HUD because I think maybe that's my null pointer. So I'm going to build this and then launch the editor. Okay, so I built and I launched the editor. So on the client, I did not see a respawn window. But on the server I do. And if I click respawn again, nothing happens. So there's a lot to unpack here. I think I'm gonna stop there and leave it where it is right now. So I basically have two problems. One is the respawn button doesn't work on the server. The other is that it doesn't show at all on the client. And then I have a third problem that I still haven't messed with, which is my cursor, my aiming reticle there is showing. It's showing where it shouldn't be. It's showing on the server as well as on the client. So obviously that would be pretty distracting to see everybody's reticles on the screen. So I'll have to fix that as well. So I'll do a little digging into my respawn window problem here, which I'm sure is related to the multiplayer. And in my next video, I'll fix that up, fix that reticle, and start thinking about next steps, because once this respawn button works, that's basically a full loop sort of implemented, and I need to start thinking about what I actually want to turn this into, which is for me a much harder thing to do than to just write code. So anyway, I'll get that all figured out and get this all fixed up in the next video. Start thinking about what this is going to be. So until then, take care.